How's it going, folks? Your Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel for the weekend MMO news drop. There's loads to share, so let's get straight to it, beginning with Final Fantasy XIV. This past week, Square Enix has shared more details about the expansion of the North American data center, and it's coming on Tuesday, November 1st, with the maintenance for patch 6.28. The new data center is called Dynamis, and it contains new worlds: Halicarnassus, Maduin, Marlith, and Seraph. This means that for folks who have yet to get some Final Fantasy XIV Prime real estate, now's your chance to snag your own house in the game, if you choose to transfer over or begin a new character on these worlds. As for players who might have missed last weekend's letter from the producer summary, key things to note are that, first of all, Final Fantasy XIV fan festivals are making a return next year, on top of a breakdown of patch 6.25's content, which arrives October 18th. These include new side story quests for Hildebrand's adventures, new Criterion dungeons, weapon enhancement quests, and more. Up next, let's talk about the Elder Scrolls Online. First of all, massive congratulations to the ESO community for hitting the Heroes of High Isles community event goals, which not only unlocked the upcoming Firesong DLC free for all High Isle owners, but also added more bonus XP days, which I'm sure has been put to good use. Additionally, ESO has also begun a new round of ESO Plus trial, the game's optional subscription. Beginning now until October 20th, all ESO players can head to the Crown Store in-game to start their ESO Plus free trial, no strings attached. You can enjoy some benefits, such as the premium material bag, which is awesome, in addition to bonus XP and inspiration. DLCs will also be unlocked during this period, so be sure to take advantage of that and check out as many DLCs and their content as you want. For this week's feel-good news, we're heading to ArenaNet and Guild Wars 2. The studio will once again be participating in this year's Extra Life events with a 24-hour stream, but this year, ArenaNet are doing something even more special. The game has added April Arellano, a Children's Miracle Network child, into the game as an NPC, and she will play a big part in some new content made specifically for this year's Extra Life on November 4th. No other details have been shared, so we'll all experience that together when the time comes. April's story is both heartbreaking and inspiring, and if you're a Guild Wars 2 player or just want to read up about it in general, I'll leave a link to it down in the comments. Now, for those keeping track of some World of Warcraft news, this week you might have seen that Blizzard has officially confirmed changes to open tagging of mobs in the Dragonflight expansion, allowing for both Alliance and Horde players to tag the same mobs for credit. The only caveat is that 5 characters maximum can tag it from either Alliance before it turns gray. This new tagging system doesn't apply if you have War Mode turned on, of course. So it appears that things are getting friendlier between the two alliances in PvE. What do you guys think? Good change overall? And now we're moving on to New World, where Amazon Game Studios this past week has shared a new teaser trailer for the upcoming Greatsword weapon, and if you've missed their livestream preview of it last month, you won't want to miss this one if you want to see it in action. I'll put a link to it down below. The studio has also shared a heat map for their predicted server queues, and this graphic details which servers are expected to receive heavy queue times when the Brimstone Sands update arrives next week. Moreover, Amazon Game Studios have also opened 2 new servers, one in Central EU and the other in US East. So if you are on a crowded server currently in these regions, you do have the option to transfer before the update hits if you want to skip the queues. Lastly, for New World, the developers have once again confirmed that a Halloween event is coming. In fact, folks can check it out on the PDR right now, so hopefully we'll get a confirmed date by next week. And onward we go. There's a new indie MMORPG launching this week, and it's called Embers Adrift, formerly known as Saga of Leucemia. This is an old-school MMORPG that features slow-paced combat and non-linear dungeons with emphasis on group play, although solo content is available. If you want to check it out, it's going to cost you $30 for the base game, which does come with a month of free subscription. And beyond that, you'll pay $10 a month if you purchase now in 2022. I've had a look into Embers Adrift and have shared my thoughts about the game, and you can watch that video by clicking the card on the top right of the screen. Heading into space now, and sci-fi sandbox MMORPG EVE Online has dropped some audio and tech improvements for its players this week as part of an ongoing effort to freshen the game up, the EVE Evolved initiative. Players can now experience a sound priority system which boosts important and relevant sounds without high CPU usage. There's the controller refactoring that reduces memory usage during busy scenes, which also helps with load times, and AMD FreeSync, which eliminates screen tearing and stuttering. If you want to get into the tech nitty-gritty and learn more about how this improves the game for you, I'll pin the blog post down below. Up next, buy-to-play open-world sandbox MMORPG Fractured Online's latest update has finally added world events to the worlds of Erin and Terra. When roaming around the landscape, players will now encounter new camps in the wild, and can defeat its inhabitants consisting of bandits, druidic ogres, and goblins among others, depending on which world you're in for some pretty good loot according to Dynamite Studios. The same patch has also fixed a long list of critical bugs, and you can read more about those in the link pinned down in the comments. For fans and players of EverQuest, there's good news too. Pre-orders for the game's upcoming expansion, Night of Shadows, which arrives in December, went live this week. With the base edition costing $35, players can expect 7 brand new zones with raids, missions, collections, and more making up the bulk of the content. Every account will also receive a trade skill component depot, which will store 250 stacks of different trade skill items shared among players as characters on the same account and server. Think of it as a premium crafting bag, which is great. And finally, for EverQuest, with the launch of pre-orders, beta for the expansion is also underway. To learn more about the Night of Shadows, the link is down below. In Neverwinter, the free-to-play Dungeons & Dragons MMO from Art Games, players can now experience some new quality-of-life features as the game's inventory and UI has received some upgrades for both PC and console players. Some of the new stuff includes a new search function, which has been added so you can now find items quicker, on top of having search filters to help you sort and locate items by value and more. You can also now rearrange bags in any order, name them, label them, and more in the inventory options section. Check out the official web post to learn more. In DC Universe Online, the game has announced that its next major update, episode 44, will be arriving on all platforms come the 26th of October, titled The Sins of Black Adam. The free update, as you can tell already, heavily features Black Adam, with cameos from other DC superheroes like Shazam and ISIS. Players will find a new solo alert and 2 raids in the content department, so if you're a fan of these characters, be sure to check it out when the update hits. Elsewhere, the classic MMORPG project Gorgon released a new update this week as well, containing pretty hefty changes. They include revisions to zones such as Altibule and core mountains, new AoE buff logic, changes to necromancer summoning, and a whole lot more. The patch notes this week covers everything and more with all the new changes, so check it out. I've got a link down below. If large or small scale action MMO PvP is what you're interested in, there's a couple of games that have entered playtesting on Steam this week. And let's talk about the first one called Warlander, developed by Japan's Toy Logic, who also worked on last year's Nier Replicant alongside Square Enix. Warlander is a third-person medieval high fantasy-inspired game that pits hundreds of players in siege warfare across its 2-army battle or 5-army battle modes, where fast-paced action and quick decision-making can turn the tide of the battle to defend your keep or take your enemies. The game features class archetypes like mages, clerics, and warriors, but you'll need to utilize more tools on the battlefield like siege weapons to fully dominate your opponents. Customization is the name of the game here, as you're able to tinker your loadout with various equipment, skill, talents, and more to synergize with your teammates. As mentioned earlier, Warlander is currently in playtesting, which you can sign up for on Steam, with its full release date being planned for December 2022. The second action MMO PvP game up for playtesting on Steam is Warhaven, from well-known Korean MMO makers and publishers Nexon. Warhaven offers gritty, medieval-inspired PvP with 16 vs 16 battles in 3 modes currently. Skirmish pits players against each other to secure bases, Arms Race focuses on protecting war machines while advancing into enemy territories, and finally Onslaught is your standard capture the flag mode. Players will get preset characters called Immortals that wield unnatural powers as they battle across 4 distinct maps. You can request access on the Steam store page itself and play until the 2nd of November. During testing, Nexon will also be giving out currency, so you can check out some of the cosmetics and skins available. Let's move on to the mobile and crossplay section next and talk about Diablo Immortal. The game's Hallows Wake Halloween event will be arriving next week on the 19th, running until November 2nd. During the event, all hell breaks loose and uber dead things fuses into our world, and players level 20 and above can begin slaying spooky goblins and closing haunted rifts, which rewards hallowed stones, a new currency that can be traded in for new cosmetic masks, emotes, and portrait frames. If you want something new to do for this week itself, the Defend the Vault mode is live alongside the limited time Infernal Knowledge event. Moving on, last week we learned about ArcheAge War, a new mobile MMORPG running on Unreal Engine 4 from Axel Games, alongside ArcheAge 2 receiving heavy investment from Kakao Games, all but assuring fans and players alike that ArcheAge's future is far from dead. This week, the folks at MMO Culture have got more good stuff to share. This time, Accel Games' official teaser trailer of ArcheAge War, with confirmation that the game will be crossplay between PC and mobile. There's no release date or additional information at this point in time, but the trailer is a good start. For folks that have been following news of upcoming MMORPG Decaron G, this week we got some. TomBombdahill has released a new developer video where the studio talks about everything players can expect from this PC and mobile MMORPG, including the game's strategic worldview, the combat system, weapon classes, and more. Additionally, there will be plenty of PvP content such as guild warfare and battlegrounds, so if you want to pre-register for Decaron G, you can do so right now for Android and iOS, and you'll get some launch benefits like consumables when the game goes live. Next up, a new mobile MMORPG entered beta this week called Time Raiders. Available for both Android and iOS, the game is Eastern themed and is all about exploring the underground with your characters, who can play classes such as the Blade Master, the Gunslinger, and Sage. Your adventures will see you earn and collect new companions along the way through the game's narrative campaign, in addition to filling up your artifact codex that offers special attributes to make you stronger. The game is made by GT Arcade and published by Yuzu Games, who, if you didn't know, are responsible for 2018's Game of Thrones Winter is Coming browser MMO. If you need an Eli 5 of what kind of monetization you can expect from this developers, check out my full review for that game, Game of Thrones, by clicking the card in the top right. And finally, before we wrap, here's some industry news. Voting for the 40th Golden Joystick Awards is currently going on until November 4th. And plenty of games have been nominated across multiple categories, including Best Story and more, with the ceremony being held virtually on the 22nd of November. This year, 5 MMORPGs are up for nominations. Final Fantasy XIV are in 3 categories for Best Community, Best Expansion for Endwalker, and Still Playing. Guild Wars 2 is also in the Best Expansion category for this year's End of Dragons, while Elder Scrolls Online, Lost Ark, and Destiny 2 are in the Still Playing categories. So I don't know if herd voting mentality exists within the MMORPG communities, but if you care about helping your favorite MMOs win some awards, go ahead and vote. I'll put the link to it down below. And that's all I've got for now, folks. If there's news for a game you play that isn't covered here in this video, do share what's going on with the rest of us down in the comments. Meantime, hit the like button for the love of MMOs, and hey, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. I'll see you guys back here next weekend for the next MMO news drop. Once again, I'm Adrian, and I thank you for watching.